and welcome. My name is Helygen, and I am a priestess of Caradwen and a priestess of Avalon here with the Glastonbury Goddess Temple. And I would like to thank the conference for inviting me to talk about a topic that is really deep in my heart. I am the Dark Goddess girl, always have been since I came here, and that was over 10 years ago. At the moment, I'm teaching the Priestess of Caradwen course and have done so for 7 years here with the Glastonbury Goddess Temple and now with the Temple of Caradwen in Avalon. But I'd like to talk to you a little bit about something that goes back a while, and I'd like to talk you through that to make you understand where this all came from. I'm going to be offering the healing gifts of the Dark Goddess course from September onwards. It's the 1-year course. It's an internal journey into you, a hero's journey, and you will be guided by 5 very feisty, very fiery, very fearsome and lovely women. Well, they're women to me. To some people, they're divine female beings. To others, they're in an energy form. Whatever works for you is fine with me. I'd like to take you back to 2010. Long before I came to Avalon, I was already a devotee of the goddess. I love the goddess, and I love everything about her and that she does for me. For years, I'd been working with Hecate, but when I moved to Wales in 2003, Hecate gave me a dream one night, and she took me very gently by the hand, thanked me for my service to her, but I'd never been her priestess. I'd never took that final step. And the reason for that, she says, was because I didn't belong to her. I belonged to her dark sister, Caradwen. Now, Caradwen I only knew from my training as a Wiccan priestess, where I had to recite the charge of the goddess, in which Caradwen is mentioned. But I had never worked with her, and I knew very little about her. So imagine my surprise when I'm suddenly handed over like so much luggage. But there was a really good reason for that. So in 2010, I had a usual mammography that we women have to go through. What a palaver, what a drama, and how uncomfortable is that? But this time they found something. They found some nodes under my arms, and they said they needed to do a biopsy. And I went from one moment to the next, tossed into the underworld, into the world of death. I knew what this meant. My father, my grandmother, and other people in my family had died of lymphoma. And it is in the family. And I knew, just knew, that it was my time, my turn. The day I got the news was one of the most difficult days of my life. And I immediately began to think about what's going to happen to me. And as always, I would turn to my goddess, to Caradwen. And I said to her, Caradwen, what are we going to do? That night, I went to sleep, eventually. And I had a very vivid dream. And that dream set me on the road that we are now coming to. I stood in my garden where I do all my work, and Caradwen was there. She was illuminated by some light source that I couldn't see, but I could also feel the presence of other beings. I could feel the presence of other goddesses. And she said to me, "Here you are, girl. I've called in the cavalry. This is the Dark Goddess Sisterhood. And these are the goddesses that are closest to you, that have been watching over you. And they wish to help you in your onward journey, whatever that might mean for you." And the light moved to the next being. And before me stood a beautiful woman, buck naked. That took me aback a bit. And she was there unashamedly. And I was like, okay, you've nothing to be ashamed about, but, you're naked. It's in the middle of the night. She had this amazing black curly hair that was almost as long as her knees. And as I was watching, out of the back of their head, this snake came out. It's quite a big snake. And I love snakes, but that was one big snake. And she slithered down in between the breasts, around the hips, down the sex, down the legs, and then towards me. And she came up over my feet, over my legs, slithered very gently over my own sex, round my hips, across my breasts, and curled itself around my neck, and then entered my body through my psychic gateway at the back of my neck. There she curled up. I could feel her presence. And as soon as she was there, something happened. My thoughts became calm. My fear started to recede. I felt the presence of this wise old being. And Lilith said, "It's funny, isn't it? It's great." I said, "Yes, it is." And she said, "Would you like to keep her?" And I said, "If I may, if she would like to stay with me." She said, "Of course, don't worry about it. I've got more." And from her hair, another beautiful snake detached itself, curled itself around her neck, and entered, I guess, her psychic gateway. It was the most vivid dream I'd ever had, and it was a lucid dream because I was interacting and chatting with the goddesses. And by speaking to Lilith, alone, speaking to her, I'd already started to feel stronger, braver. Lilith, I had a whole handout for you to be read to you about her history, about the fact where she came from. We first find her in Sumeria in ancient times. She then becomes the first wife of Adam, and she falls out with him pretty much as soon as they are combined, because he demands that he must lie on top of her. And she said, "Hell no, I'm out of here." And she was tossed out of heaven, out of the Garden of Eden, for her defiance of a male god, for her defiance of not taking her fate. And she left alone. There was no other human beings that she could go to, but she was not afraid. She said, "I'd rather be alone than be untrue to myself. I'd rather be alone and live by myself than be untrue and incongruous." And she went and she lived the life that she wished to live, in truth. She was betrayed by those who created her. And we hear this motive in a story so often. The same thing happens to Blodaiwith. And again, Blodaiwith stands straight and defies what has been demanded of her. I like a good feisty woman. And Lilith made me laugh. She's so funny in her defiance. Her hands on her hips, she stands there, head tall. "What are you going to do about it?" she says. To me, she said, "You are not looking after yourself. You're bending over backwards for others. You're bending like a pretzel to be something that you think people will love. But if you're not true to yourself, you don't feel safe to them, and they will never, ever trust you. You will become untrustworthy, and you must be in your own authenticity. They may then still not like you, but at least they know who you are. They know the true you." Wise words, things I needed to hear. Because everything that I had felt in my soul, everything that was not right in my life, led to this explosion of cells in my body. From Lilith, the light fell on to the next person, the next being, Hecate, someone I was familiar with. And there she was, her two great dogs next to her, looking through their eyes at me, and her standing there with two torches, big torches, one of which she handed to me. This, you know, will illuminate your path onwards. This, you know, will illuminate the labyrinthine path into yourself. There to stop and stand across the threshold into a new you. Either death and rebirth or death and rebirth. I looked at her. I didn't understand what she meant. It will become clear to you, dear child. I am the keeper of the threshold. I am the keeper of the crossroads. It is your choice which way to go. I am here because I was the truth speaker for Persephone when she was hidden by Hades. When the men came for her, I was the only one that would speak up, and I paid the price. My own people demanded my demise, and when they couldn't get that, they shunned me, betrayed me, sent me away. But I rose. I stood strong. I knew that I was right in what I had done. Speaking the truth is never the wrong way forward. You know this. You are a truth speaker. And very often that does get you into trouble. She smiled at me. She laughed. But you know that it is the only way to feel like you are yourself. I will guide you. My torch will show you the way, and I will be there when you come to the threshold, and I will help you across. You are not alone. And then the light went on to the next being, and immediately, as I turned my attention to her, I got a noseful of the most tremendous smell of apple blossoms, ripe apples. And there she stood, hand stretched out, apple of wisdom in her hand. And immediately I knew who it was because I saw the symbol on her forehead, the symbol of the crescent moon, Morgana, Lady of Avalon, priestess that holds the knowledge of healing, of wisdom, of the lands of Avalon, where I live now. I too am here for you, she said. I too am here to help you. I too am helping you to heal what needs to be healed. I was betrayed, and they betrayed my son, and they told us and others that we were evil and dark and dangerous. I like being dangerous, she said to me. My son slew the man who betrayed the land of Avalon. Arthur was the guardian of the sovereignty of my land. He turned his face away. He betrayed the land of Avalon. I didn't wish him dead. Hence I brought him back. I received him back to Avalon, where he now rests. But the damage he did, we still feel it. It is still reverberating through the ages. He is not the one that will come and save the island of Albion. That will be the women. The women will save the land. The women who come to my land, who gather there in my name, who wish to help heal the world. I am here for you, and I call you to my land, and yet there you will be healed. I promise. Now, those of you who know that I live in Avalon now, may not know that in 2010 I had no intention of moving anywhere. I was settled in Wales. I loved my country. I loved being there. I loved where I lived. And when she spoke those words, something inside of me was like, yeah, whatever, I don't think so. And then I expected Caradwen to step forward. But I suddenly felt a presence next to me, right by my side, right in the center of the circle. It was so dark, I couldn't see who was next to me, and the light had not yet moved from Morgana, but I could already feel that there was a being that was phenomenally, cosmically large, larger than life, despite the diminutive figure I felt next to me. And when I say diminutive, I'm 5 foot tall, 5'2". So there she was. And slowly the light faded a little, and it began to illuminate her, but just a little. And what I could see was a veil, dark, completely covering this person, this being. I am the bringer of death. I am the weaver of the shrouds. I am she who will take you and walk with you, if that is to be. I am not known to many. I am the mystery within you, and yet I am very present in the world. Suddenly, 2 great big wings came out around me. The wings were jet black raven feathers, and yet on the wings they were tiny little points of light, and I was wondering what they were, and they glimmered in the light like diamonds. It was like the night sky, and suddenly I realized who I was speaking to. I only had a small consciousness of her. Nephthys, dark sister of Isis, the great mother. And her wings came around me, and she lifted me a little off the ground to show me how strong our bond was, that she would not let me fall, that I was safe within her. For now, all she allowed me to see was her red lips. She would not show me her face. She would not lift the veil. But that was okay. I could feel her intention towards me, and I knew that in the end the mystery would come from all of them, but in the center would be she. And then Caradwen stepped forward. I told you, didn't I? I told you how it would be, that you would not be alone, no matter what happens and when it happens. You are here and you are safe. There will be no pain or suffering. You will walk with us, and we will walk with you. We are yours, and you are ours. Dark Goddess Sisterhood, embodied in you. And then everything went black. And the next thing I knew, it was morning, and I was awake. But I swear to you, and you may believe me or not, on the pillow next to me was a black raven feather. A sign that my dream had been reality. It was an uncomfortable 6 weeks to wait for results. And as I said, it wasn't lymphoma then, but there's always a chance of my developing it. So what did I do? I listened to the goddesses. I traveled to Avalon. I visited the land of Morgana. I sat in her apple orchards. I sat in the White Spring. I sat in the White Spring praying every day for a week. Please, let this go by me. Let me be well. I still have so much work to do. I still have so much to learn. Please, my dark sisters, let me live. And those 6 weeks were like a death, an initiation. And then I was reborn into the life that I live now. I was reborn into moving towards the path of the priestess. It was time for me to give back. And hence I created the Priestess of Caradwen training so that others could follow the path. And that is an outer world priestess path. It is a path where you serve as a priestess in your community. You create ceremony. You create beauty. You help people who are walking the path that I walked, because there was no one when I walked it, no one to talk to. Now we have the death priestesses that are working with Caradwen. The healing gifts don't mean that you may survive anything. Eventually we all must go that path, and we will go it alone. Because no matter how much people love us in our lives, that is one journey that we take without human companionship. But we do take it with the companionship of the Dark Goddess Sisterhood. They will be by our side if that is what we ask for. The course of the Dark Goddess Sisterhood is different. It is an internal journey. It is a turning into you, a learning about yourself, and a seeing of possibilities and potentialities that you have not seen before. Stripping off, like Lilith, all the garments that have been placed upon you. The mother, the lover, the sister, the work colleague, all of those things where you have to mind, where you have been molded, where have you been conditioned and programmed. I'm not necessarily here to offer you a course. I want you to understand why I'm passionate about what I do. I believe that I was helped. I believe I was healed. And I believe it was the dark goddesses that I just described. But it may well be another dark goddess that you work with. And the beauty of this is that once you come out of the darkness and you are climbing back up, you're ascending back up into the outer world, you will be changed. You will have found initiation. And you will choose the dark goddess that is yours, that is there for you. And you will learn about her, and you will work with her, and you will be healed by her. So this is my gift. This is my gift to you, is to create the space, to gift you the time that you need for yourself, to remind you of who you are, a wild woman, a temple priestess, and you are tending your own temple, your own sanctum, sanctorium, your own temenos, your place, your sanctuary. You take the right to have that for yourself, and nobody enters unless you say so. And you will not share that space with anyone who's not worthy. So I offer you that. And if you don't wish to come on a course, I ask you to actually do some own research for yourself and see who feels right. Try them on, speak to them, light a candle to them, create an altar for them, and speak to them. So mote it be. Be ready for yourself. I wish you a beautiful conference. I hope that whatever I spoke to today will help you understand yourself better. I feel blessed to have this life. It is my best life ever. And as I'm waiting for my grandchildren that I never expected to have, I give gratitude and an offering to the Dark Goddess Sisterhood for all that they've given me. Blessed be.